it's not as popular as it was during the steroid era. They need all the popular teams they can get. And, I really hope that the Yankees start to turn this around, as much as I hate to say it, because being an Indians fan, not exactly a big Yankees guy, but, I really hope that they can turn it around, because it'd be a shame to see one of the most storied franchises in the history of sports, fall down the tubes like they're destined to do if they continue to do this. Just a couple quick side notes. Les Miles signed a new deal with LSU, and it pays about $4.3 million a year, and so, which is a good deal for them. I think Les Miles is a good coach. I don't think he's the elite coach that people make him out to be. I think considering he's at LSU, which is not really in the recruiting hotbeds in the nation, and when I say recruiting hotbed, I mean states like California, Texas, Ohio, and Florida, which are where a lot of the big-time college football players come out of. He's not really in one of those areas, so he has to really go and get people, and for that, he's done a very good job. However, excuse me, I don't think he's that good of an in-game coach. He has done good things, but I think when it comes down to it, there's stupid decisions he makes. Like, they threw that game away against Clemson. Actually, wait a minute. Sorry. One more quick thing I wanted to talk about, and I know I talked about this yesterday, was the situation involving Manti Te'o. And this situation just gets crazier and crazier every day. It's impossible for me to wrap my head around this. I just don't understand what was going through his head when he continued to lie about this to the news and claimed that this girl actually existed. Once he knew that she didn't exist and that this was a hoax, he should have come right out and told everybody. Because a lot of the reason he became the popular player that he was and the beloved national icon, and actually probably the only reason he was in the Heisman talks, was because of this situation he had with his girlfriend, this supposed girlfriend of his and his grandma. If you look at the stats, Ohio State linebacker Ryan Shazier was statistically better in almost every category. But Shazier wasn't even in the talks for the Heisman. And I'm sure there's a lot of other star linebackers for schools that were playing at a similar level to Manti Te'o, but he just got all the publicity because of this national icon thing that happened to him through this girlfriend situation. And when it happened, it was a really sad story. Everyone thought, wow, this is incredible that he's going out and playing through this. And to a point, at the time that he was playing through it, he was still under the impression that this was a real person and that she had actually died. So it doesn't take away from his achievement in how well he played in those games, despite the circumstances. However, continuing to hide it from everybody after he found out about it was just wrong of him. And kind of made me smile to see him and Notre Dame get exposed in that last game against Alabama. It just goes to show how much better the top of the SEC is than the rest of the country. I think Nick Saban's the best coach in college football. No questions about it. I think the only guy that even comes close is Ohio State's coach, Urban Meyer. And when you look at it, there's two types of coaches in college football with the exception of Saban and Urban Meyer. There's coaches that are good recruiters but not good X's and O's guys. Then there's the guys like Charlie Weiss. Charlie Weiss at Notre Dame kept getting these top classes, but he couldn't win with them. He had a year where he got the number one quarterback and a bunch of other top prospects, and the number one quarterback was Dane Kreist, who's now he was the starter at Kansas last year, and he couldn't do anything with them. He was not a successful coach. He had Jimmy Clausen, who was the number one quarterback in the country that year, and everyone thought he was going to be this superstar player that goes on to an incredibly successful NFL career. And Charlie Weiss, in his first season, barely won any games. They were horrible. Then there's the other types of coaches that are not really that good at recruiters, but are pretty good X's and O's guys. And an example of this, and to an extent, is Jim Tressel. Tressel was a very good recruiter at times, but his classes were never really elite. He had the one really good class where he got Terrell Pryor and Mike Adams and all those guys. But outside of that, he wasn't really doing a whole lot. And he got those guys after we had just been to 2 national championships. So we were kind of in the forefront of the national spotlight. He was a very good X's and O's coach. He really knew how to win ball games. But then there's the coaches like Urban Meyer and Nick Saban. And Nick Saban and Urban Meyer are both great strategic coaches and phenomenal recruiters. Nick Saban is getting 3 4-star running backs to come into Alabama next year. And one of those kids is named Derrick Henry. He's a 6'4", 240-pound running back who ran for 4,200 yards in his senior year and 55 touchdowns, which is absolutely incredible. He set the national career rushing record with over 11,000 in his high school career. And I watched a couple highlight videos of him, and now I know it's high school players, and it's literally like watching a man amongst boys out there. It was like watching a young Adrian Peterson. There's nothing the high school defenses could do to stop this kid. He was running over everybody, running as much as he wanted, and if someone was trying to solo tackle him, they were not going to do it. He was going to break the tackle. And it scares me to think about how good Alabama can be with this guy and TJ Yeldon, who's going into his sophomore year next year. Nick Saban has really done a phenomenal job of building up that program, who has really fallen apart before he got there. People tend to forget Alabama was not a good program for a few years before he got there. They were really falling apart, kind of like Michigan is now. But Michigan's on the upswing again. But Alabama has turned into a dynasty in every sense of the word, and I wouldn't be surprised if A.J. McCarron becomes the first quarterback to win 3 straight national championships. So that's about all the time I have for you guys today. I'm going to do a quick commercial break, and I'll come back and I'll kind of wrap this up. All right, guys, I'm back, and I just wanted to give you a couple things. I forgot to give you guys this last show, even though I told you guys I was going to, but we have a Twitter account, James and I do, and we mainly use it for political stuff, but we're going to be doing some sports tweets here and there. And that Twitter account is A_GOP_America, and we just keep checking back for updates from us. We'll tweet every time we're going to have a live show. One more thing I wanted to do is give a couple shout-outs. I wanted to give a shout-out to my youth basketball team that I coached today after a dominating performance. We won 59-15, and they looked really solid out there, so I wanted to make sure I recognized them for doing that. And shout-out to, I wanted to check this guy out on Twitter. He's a good friend of mine. Miles11W is his Twitter account. He gives great Ohio State sports updates if you're an Ohio State fan, and he gives great college sports updates in general. If you like college football at all, I would strongly recommend checking his tweets out. He really knows what he's talking about. And with that, I will leave you guys, and have a great day, and keep your eyes open for any links that I post on Twitter, and just keep checking back, and we'll be broadcasting again soon. Thank you, guys.